It's less than 3% of venture funding goes to women-led teams. And when you add in intersectionality, those percentages drop even further to less than 0.5%, which I always say is not a number.
In Germany, the share of corporate leadership positions held by women is tiny. How attractive is Germany as a destination for female founders? Less than a quarter of all established startups in 2024 were led by women. And the number is only a little better in the corporate sector.
I definitely think that there is a less spoken about glass ceiling when we're talking about women founders in the startup ecosystem. Here in Berlin, you're seeing a lot of state-led initiatives, like the Berlin Startup Stipendium, having a woman-led fund, meaning that women founders in Berlin can receive non-dilutive grants for 1 year to build their companies.
Berlin is the new startup destination in Europe and offers competitive advantage, a strong tech presence and a diverse talent pool. But there are concerns that this pool may shrink as European companies may take diversity goals off the table following the lead from the US.
So ideally, we don't need any of these rules, quotas, diversity initiatives, and so on, because it's just very normal that it is diverse per se. That's not the case, obviously. I think what people often are worried about is that these quotas take away from any merit-based system, right? So what they assume is that women are less qualified. This is simply not true. The barriers are not in terms of competences or abilities of these people, but the barriers are really from much more institutional and structural sides.
While Germany has no strict diversity policy, it does have a fairness principle which leaves no room for discrimination in terms of hiring. On paper, everyone has an equal chance, but this isn't necessarily true.
Ideally, we want that no factors like race, sexuality, gender, etc. matter at all for how people progress. Even though we always say these diversity initiatives, they're a waste of time and they're a waste of money, that's something that you often hear also in the private sector. I do think that even just talking about the topic like we are doing it now, or also bringing these campaigns of awareness into companies can help.
So how important is it to have more women in decision-making positions? For female entrepreneurs, it's crucial. Deborah's non-profit Founderland is trying to bridge the gap between women and finances, be it investors or grants or funds. After working for years in New York, she moved to Berlin 9 years ago with one goal: to bring opportunities to women.
We represent nearly 700 women of color founders across Europe, building their businesses in over 25 European countries. There's a lot of immediate bureaucracy when it comes to forming a company here. And I don't like to say that there's any one market or region that's better than the other, but I will say, having had the experience of creating companies in the US and now also in Germany, I do find the approach to company formation in the US a lot more streamlined.
In bureaucracy-heavy Germany, paperwork can drown those who want to set up new ventures. For this, Deborah says it's important to have a strong support system, women who can mentor and support new founders and help them navigate the complexity of red tape.
This idea of promoting women and bringing mentorship from women who have gone through these experiences to other women, this is something where there's a lot of focus on.
For Europe, the US is often seen as a leader in business practice, and what works there often makes its way here. And some are worried that the negative influence of axing diversity initiatives in Washington will directly impact Europe.
It's incredibly disheartening to watch from here what's happening in the US when it comes to the dismantling of diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. When it comes to what diversity, equity, and inclusion might look like this year or in the coming years here in Europe, my hope and my bet is that Europe decides to take the lead there as well.